Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? Mahalo for tuning in today. We're welcoming back our friend from reggae giant Steel Pulse, this legendary frontman with the charismatic voice and wise words. Returns for the Republic Music Fest Year 2, June 9th at Kaka'ako Waterfront Park, June 10th on Maui, just days before his birthday, too. His group broke out of the Handsworth area of Birmingham, England, became one of the most important reggae bands of all time. It's a pleasure to welcome back the great guitarist and vocalist from Steel Pulse, David Dread Hinds. Aloha and mahalo, my brother. How you doing?
I could always be better, but I give plenty thanks.
I give you a big hug, my brother.
Aloha, Richard. Everything nice and spicy.
Good to hear your voice again, and a high five to you, my friend. Thank you.
All right.
What's the last year was last time we saw you? It was right around the same time of year, in fact, that you guys came through. Since then, you've done a couple interesting things, Brother David. You went to Haiti for a pair of shows earlier this year, yeah?
That's right.
Give me a little 411. What's Haiti all about these days? What was it like?
Well, Haiti's all about what it was all about 2 years ago when the earthquake struck back in January 2010. And not much has happened as far as rehabs the people. The whole, around the capitals, around the famous monuments of Tucson and Piton and all those other famous activists throughout their history, the people are actually surrounded all these great monuments with tin tents and in boxes, you name it, what they can actually dwell in, plastic bags, whatever is covering them for that day. And it's just appalling to see the condition, but they still try to keep their spirits up. And when we felt honored to be there participating and keeping their spirits up, so to speak.
What were the shows about? Were they regular gigs of yours, or were they special events of some kind?
So it's all been about a special event because, as you know, or you may not know actually, because we've been touring the U.S. with the intentions of raising monies for Haiti in terms of supplying funds to a company that's building solar panels out there for their hospitals and everything else. So that's the situation right now. We've been going out there with the intentions of making the people's spirit more uplifting, and also with the intention of generating funds to supply solar panels to their institutions. Were
those shows benefits that were there in Haiti?
Yes, in a way. Well, put it this way, Haiti is a third world country, and what tends to happen when we hit third world countries, that there tend to be two sets of dates in one town or one district. And the first set usually accommodates the well-to-do, the more affluent part of the society. And then second date is usually, as a rule, a free concert, or a concert where the money's offered as far as the fee to enter is little next to nothing. But in this particular case, we only managed to do one show because there was a lot of red tape and bureaucracy when it came to the second show that really wasn't necessary to accommodate the lower sector of the society as far as the financial status. And there was some infrastructure set there where they were demanding a hefty fee for the rental of the environment or the actual place to perform, which was defeating the entire object of us in the first place going there.
Right. Is your impression
something ridiculous, something under $250,000 or something like that, which was
holding it up
ridiculous.
Is your impression from being there on the ground that you talk about the red tape and the bureaucracy and how things just don't look like there's been much progress in the couple of years since this happened? Is there any signs as to how any of that is going on? Is that happening because of the government on the ground there? Is it a lack of awareness from people out here in the community? Anything you can point to?
No, I think it's a case of the world not really, all the pledges that were made over the years, over the last 2 years, a few of the countries really committed themselves to the pledges that they offered. Australia was one, and I think Canada was another one that really put their money where their mouths were, is what I'm saying. And everybody else was just a lot of talk. Having said that, there's a lot of American companies that have been down there that have been doing things on a beneficial basis and for example, since things are difficult to get down there in the first place, there's been a company that I met, their name escapes me right now, come out of San Francisco Bay Area, that have been making classrooms out of the containers or deriving from the containers that actually transport goods down to Haiti in the first place. So they're making the classrooms at a height of about 7'9" by about 8 feet, whatever, 10 feet across, whatever the size of actual containers are. And literally stacking them on top of each other and building classrooms with stairways for children to continue with their schooling. And some of them are donating some of those container-type classrooms free of charge. The ceilings are not very high.
Right.
Bearing in mind that when it comes to air and circulation, but it's at least better than nothing. And another setback that's down there is that whoever is doing a lot of building down there, as far as the Haitian administration, it's based on the same principle as how they were built many years ago, where there's nothing that's catering totally for to be earthquake-proof or almost earthquake-proof, or the structures are more set, where in the event of earthquake, since Haiti is on an earthquake belt, that the buildings won't move in a rock as how they did 2 years ago. So that's another setback. But like I said, there are companies that are coming in and are going by the safety measures and the profit measures in building homes and other infrastructures.
The shipping container thing is pretty innovative. I've seen what you're talking about in coverage on the news with the shipping containers and using them as homes too, right? There's some use of those for dwellings and some.
I would imagine so. I guess I would imagine they are, but I know the company I was relating to at the time, they were doing it as far as
schools,
getting an office block set up, and in the meantime they donated some of those same type container classrooms to schools that were down, and as you know, a good percent of the people that got destroyed in the earthquake were children while they were at school.
Right, yeah, and a huge loss of life too. It's almost incomprehensible how many folks perished in that thing, and it is very frustrating to hear that this many years later, kind of like on a much less scale, way less scale, the way that New Orleans has taken so long to sort of get it.
You said, and the thing what the world doesn't seem to realize, the longer that something in a third world country like Haiti takes to be put right, the more diseases and other things that can kick in because of stagnant water, because of everything else out there. And there was a cholera outbreak out there that took down well over 6,000 people.
Right.
And that was all because things was laying there for such a long time and nothing we put right immediately. Created an extra 6,000 on top of the 250,000 that got destroyed 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I heard about that too, right? They thought it may have been like an infection that came with the soldiers or something, the UN peacekeepers or something like that.
Yeah.
When you look around, how long were you there actually in country?
I was there for about just under a week because I stayed an extra couple of days and tried to fulfill my promise to go out and see the actual places that we were making our donations as far as the solar panels. So I stayed an extra couple of days. And I want to add that we just missed Sean Penn while we were out there. He flew in the actual day we were flying out to get a commemoration from Marcelin, the new president that they have out there, who was an ex-musician, who was once a musician, and we were trying to see him as well, but he was out of the country for some time, and when he actually came in, I think he probably got snowed under, but we were trying to connect with him while we were out there, but when we were actually leaving, Sean Penn came in the same day, and we got a chance to meet Marcelin while he had a chance to relax from his chores. So we're hoping to turn that around. As a matter of fact, we're on our way to Los Angeles, and we're expecting Sean Penn to be at tonight's show at the House of Blues. we're expecting that. But let's see what happens.
He's given, I guess, from what you're saying, just reading into it, you would say he is one of the few cats who's really put his money where his mouth is and tried to stand up for this cause and keep the flame alive.
I'd say so. I mean, there's quite a few, but I sort of really give a lot of reverence and acclaim to Sean Penn simply because, number one, he didn't have to do it. He's still got a career he needs to continue with, and he's put his career on hold and spent so much time down there, and he didn't give a damn about the publicity. He was, no one would need to know he's down there if it was left up to him. It's because of the icon he is in, news media, as we know it, will want to see there's something significant. But he's the kind of guy that I don't think he would give a damn if the world didn't know he was down there trying to, build his support. And I sort of have him in high regards for that.
And the same with yourselves. I didn't really even realize you were doing the solar panel effort, and I think there's two sides to that coin. One side is, I understand not tooting your own horn, trying to get credit for stuff, and I admire him for that, the way you were describing him. But at the same time, on the other side of the coin, it does, like you said, when you have a big personality behind a cause, it does generate more support, and it can actually help change the thing that you're trying to change. By you doing it, it adds something, because I bet a lot of your fans would not have even thought about the crisis there, but then they're going to hear this interview, they hear that you're talking about it with passion, and you're going to do the same sort of awareness that Sean does in a way.
Yes, I mean, to all my fans out there, situation is still alive and kicking, and the people, I think that we know Haiti has, to call it a legacy right now, of been in a destructive mode, or a mode where they've been downtrodden for a good part of 2 centuries. Ever since they became independent from France, they've paid the price dearly with the back taxes that they owed France and all that, or France threw on them. So they've never had a chance to really get off their feet as a country in the first place. They're set as an example, being a country that was once colonized and became independent. They were an example to other countries that wanted to be independent and rather remained colonized because of their, seeing how Haiti was as in their appalling situation. So it's been 2 centuries, and I guess it's a case where they've been hardened and seasoned to that setback. But, there comes a time where spirits will get broken, especially with a new generation that are seeing the world and seeing many other countries in a better state because of the world of the internet and Twitter and all that's out there to it. The world's changing now, and they're seeing there's a lot better out there than what they've been accustomed to over the years. As you can see what took place across the Middle East with Libya and Tunisia and Egypt, just to name a few.
Yeah, there is a hope that an awakening comes and leads to something positive in Haiti. I had a lot of good Haitian friends when I lived in Boston. I used to do sound for this band, Orada, so I got it in my heart too. So it's really, I admire you for all the things that you've just said. It says a lot about, when you think about the roots of you in music, this goes back really all the way to the very beginning of what you're about, I might dare say. And you'll correct me, of course, if I'm wrong, but I think of 3 words: redemption, protection, and freedom when I hear the song Kibudu Mansata Abuku. And I can't help but think that when you talk about Haiti with such passion, it's like a full circle to the very roots that you first were known for.
Yeah, you can look at it like that, of course. I hope there'll be a lot of circles, but I hope the circles be something will be coming out of these circles where it ends on a happy ending and everybody walks off into the sunset with halos over their head and, happy sort of thing. So that's what I want to see at the end of the day.
But do you see what I mean? I guess when there's so many artists, they wouldn't give a damn the way you give a damn. You care, and then you think about the way you've sort of established yourself. And I was doing homework for this and looking at all the moments in your life where you've stood up for people and you've made sure that your reggae message is it's not lovers reggae that you're doing. You're doing like the real deal. You're like the fist in the air. This is what roots reggae is.
Yeah, well, that's how it got to us in the first place, and we want to just continue that that medium.
Was there any kind of, when I think about the upcoming release of the Bob Marley movie coming out on April 20th, your history has this very powerful thing, the historic gig, the night of his funeral. And in so many ways, you are a champion of many causes that he would have cared about too, and did care about. What are your memories of how that came together?
I sort of more take on board like the day, what we were doing and where we were when on his passing more than anything else.
What do you remember?
We were on our way back to the United States. We were leaving Canada at the time. And then we heard the news, because we had at that time one of his major engineers that was working with us, Mr. Dennis Thompson, and he had first-hand information on Marley's condition every day, especially when he arrived back into Miami, when there was no hope, and it was within days of him arriving that he passed. And we were learning, every time during our travels, of his condition. It was mainly because of the engineer that we had that was working with us after Marley fell ill. So that's what I remember more than anything else.
It's like almost like you care more to make sure you focus on these hard issues than have fun.
Yes. All I can say is we take the cause, what we have, very close to heart. And as far as the band's performance, being on the Wailers tour back in '78 was an opportunity for us to really see the master at work, and it was something that's been branded, and implanted in our minds and instilled in our consciousness how to do it. It's never left us, and I think that has a lot to do with the dedication that we do have towards what we do.
It's heavily on display. Good answer. I appreciate it, Brother David. I look forward to the shows, and I applaud you for keeping the issues first and foremost in your music.
All right, man. Thank you very much, and aloha, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate it, David. Big hug. Tell Rich I appreciate it, and we'll see you guys when you get here.
All right.
Aloha.
All right, then, man. Take it easy.
Be safe, brother.
Thank you.